we talked about using the pen tool to make straight lines. There is an easier way. It's called the ruler tool, which if you go here, it's 4 down from the top. It's the straight line, and if you click and drag, you get your line, and you can, again, with the shift, if you hit shift, it'll constrain your proportions. You can do a horizontal line, 90 degrees, etc. So, and then again with this, if you use the direct select tool to select an anchor, you can, resize it, move it around, etc. Okay, so shapes. To your question, if you go 5 down from the left-hand side, there is a gray box. If you click on that, I'm going to zoom out of this. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and delete these. That was kind of more so that you guys could play around with that. Okay, so if you click on the gray box right here and click and drag, that's your rectangular tool. So that's how you draw a rectangle really easily, right? A lot simpler than creating it out of individual points. Again, if you click and hit the shift button and then drag, you're going to constrain the proportions, and that's how you get a perfect square, since a square is a type of rectangle. And then also, if you hover over the tool itself and you double click on it, if you click on the artboard, then you'll get a dialog box. And this is where if you have a very particular size that you need, if you need it to be 3 by 5 or 4 by 6 or whatever it is, rather than click and drag and try and sort of approximate those measurements, you can enter in your exact measurements right here. What was that? Yeah, so click on the tool itself, the rectangle tool, and then click once on your artboard. So don't drag, just click. And that should pop up the dialog box. Now if you click and hold on your rectangle tool, you'll see you have the option for many different shapes here. There's a rounded rectangle, which functions exactly similar, except for the fact that it has rounded edges. I'm going to select that, and rather than click and drag, I'm just going to do the one click, because this is where you can set the size of your rectangle, but then you can also set the radius of your corners, which is useful. It'll default to something, but generally I like them curvier than that or straighter than that or whatever, and you can set that in here. Similarly, ellipse tool will draw an ellipse, and if you shift, then it will constrain it to a circle. If you click, you get your width and your height. Unfortunately, it does not offer you a radius option, which you would think it would offer, but apparently not. Apparently it's too scientific. So when I click and drag, you notice that I'm drawing the rectangle or the square from the top left corner out, right? And that's great and that's useful, but sometimes you want to draw an object from the center out. So let's say, for example, I have this beautiful blue box with a hideous orange stripe around it, and I want to add a circle to this corner, but I want it to be centered on the corner, right? What I can do is I can go to my ellipse tool, hover over this anchor point, and if I hit Option and click and drag, it's not doing it. Shift Option, sorry, because I want a circle, right. So if I hover over it, hit Option and Shift, that's going to constrain it to a circle, and what the Option does is it starts to draw the object from the center outward instead of from the top left. So the default is always the top left, and the Option helps you draw it from the center out.